Well, officially, welcome everyone to our broadcast this month. We are so excited to have you all here with us. We have a lot to cover. Now, for those of you that are new, a very special welcome to you and thank you for joining your first partner broadcast with us. As I mentioned, we have a lot of content to cover. So a lot of today is going to be information on your services and how to master your services. But before we dive into that, there's a couple things I want you to be aware of. The chat box is open and you can use that to ask questions, comments, feedback, everything throughout the event. Let us know where you're at during the process today so we can make sure we address anything that comes up and so we can see your feedback. It's also important because if you have liked our Facebook page and you follow our YouTube as well, when you are active during the event, it gets you entered in a kit giveaway, which is very exciting. So make sure you fire up those fingers and start using that chat box throughout the event. Now, I mentioned today is mastering your services. There is a lot we're going to be covering. I want everyone to be aware that today's content is also connected to your Summer Breeze, where we'll be giving an update on Summer Breeze also. So for those of you guys enrolled in that, make sure you pay special close attention to the content. If you have not yet gotten into Summer Breeze, get in it now. It's a fantastic program and email system. So I want to make sure everybody has that. So if you're not sure how to get into Summer Breeze yet, just go ahead and reach out to the support team. We will get you set up on it because it is incredible and we've got a great update on that today. So again, we are covering mastering your services and I'd like to start out with a few words from Ryan Maddock. Ryan, over to you.
For the next 2 months, we'll be focusing on mastering our service portfolio. Now, I want you to understand, you don't need to be an expert in your services in order to be successful. That's not what I mean when I say master. What we mean is we want you to have a deep understanding and a confidence in some areas like, what are our programs? When did they go into effect? Do they get renewed every year or are they permanent? How much does the average client qualify for? And what types of clients are a good fit? Then there's some other key factors like what types of clients pay the highest commissions? How much money can you make? And most importantly, we want you to understand why the next 6 months are crucial to your journey of building lifelong residual income with these clients. Now, today we're going to start with 2 of our foundational services. One of the things I think you're going to like is that these are services that virtually every company in America qualifies for. And I'm talking about, first of all, the Work Opportunity Tax Credit. And the second one, the tax management system itself. Not only is that one of your services, but it's one of the strongest services you could offer a client. Now, in each of those segments, we'll start by teaching you a little bit about the service, and then we'll teach you the most effective way to building a base of clients using these services. So let's dive in.
Thank you so much, Ryan. What a great introduction to not only July, but also August. We're going to be covering, like Ryan said, in July, 2 of our services. Yeah. And I'm really happy that we're starting with the tax management system. Aren't you, Ryan?
Yeah, I said it in my intro, but I don't think, Kendra, that people think of this as a service. They think of it as like a sign-up process to get to our service, but this very much is a service in itself.
Right. I'm excited because I think that by the time you go through the TMS training, you're really going to have a grasp and an understanding of how it is the foundation. It is where all the services live, and it is a service in and of itself. Why don't we go ahead and take a look now? On this installment of Master Your Service Portfolio, we're going to be focusing on the tax management system, or TMS. Let's get started.
I don't think that people think of TMS as a service, Kendra. It's, they almost think of it as a thing that leads to our service.
Right.
But it is a service. It does lead to everything we do. It does have a fee. It's a monthly service fee, like any piece of software, which we're going to talk about, in a few moments. But, Kendra, what is the TMS, so that people kind of understand?
I think it's really important to look at it in this manner. So the tax management system, which is represented by that image you see in the middle of the screen, which is actually the tax management system on a screen, is where all of our services live. And we'll tie all this together and you'll really get an understanding of why we start with the tax management system here in just a second. But it's the way that we're able to pull everything together into one workable software package for our clients, which really is what sets us apart from anybody else who's attempting to do the services that we do. When we talk about the tax management system, we need to understand what it actually is at its core, and it's a SaaS. And what that means is it's a software as a service, which we should all be familiar with, right, Ryan?
Yeah, I think this is important because people are comfortable with, they may not know the term SaaS, but the average client out there does know some of these names. And, Kendra, if you go out there and say cost seg or R&D or something like that, maybe that's not familiar to them, but at the same time, they are used to paying a monthly subscription fee for a service. And what we found is when you go out there and if I said, Kendra, I think you should do a cost segregation, I just get the name wrong. You're going to say, oh man, I don't know what that is. But if I go out there and I say, hey, we have a tax platform that helps find tax credits for your business, and it's, blank dollars per month, then, now all of a sudden this makes sense to them. So I want to focus in on one everybody knows. That's QuickBooks. So Kendra, if I said to you for QuickBooks, hey, here's some software, and I want you and your team to spend a few hours a week inputting data so that your CPA can have a better time at the end of the year. No,
doesn't sound great to me.
No, what you got to do is you got to speak to the people that are actually going to use your platform, which is usually not the owners, it's management. And so what QuickBooks says is invoice your clients with ease, stay on top of your accounts receivable, pay your employees with ease, take credit cards with no setup, these kind of things. And oh, by the way, in your normal course of business, we're going to make things easier on your CPA, track your taxes and everything like that.
Makes it appealing to that end user.
Yeah. And we found this same thing, Kendra, that as a software platform, there's a few key things we needed to do.
Right. So to make sure that it works, like they're fundamental, it has to solve a problem that our client has. And the second thing it has to do is it has to become a part of their daily standard operating procedures. And if it doesn't accomplish those two things, that it won't be successful.
Yeah. And we kind of learned this because we watched how our clients used our software. And when we originally launched it, we launched it as a WOTC platform that had a monthly subscription fee, which is not uncommon for WOTC platforms. But Kendra, what we found is that small businesses were using our platform for something we never intended. And that was because we were meeting a need without even knowing it.
Yep. It evolved on its own, and we had to embrace that because it did that first thing we needed it to do. It was solving this problem. And what it did is it naturally became an HRIS system. And the interesting thing is over 90% of small businesses don't have an ATS, ETS, or HRIS system in their business to utilize. So they were just kind of naturally using the WOTC platform that way.
All of a sudden they were storing in their upload field. They're storing resumes in their upload fields and things like that. So, we embraced that and gave them the features that they were already asking for. So Kendra, bring everybody up to speed on what our system does for them.
So we took what their needs were. We actually took it to another level. We realized this is what they want to use it for. We need them to use it for our end use. So we added some great aspects to really make it a full service HRIS. Yeah. So it manages and tracks job openings. It manages and tracks candidates, employees. They can store resumes, employment documents. And for those of you who are like, Kendra, what the heck is an HRIS system? Well, basically it's a software that's going to maintain and manage the jobs, candidates, employee information, basically an HR package in a software platform. So that's what WOTC became, and that became the tax management system.
Yeah. And the other thing is, if we say to a business owner, we're going to go find hundreds of local, state, and federal tax incentives, that's enticing. But then you talk to someone in, mid-management and you say, hey, why don't you do some work so that your boss can get a tax incentive? And this just isn't
not appealing.
So what we did was we made the job easier for all of the team members. And then, by the way, in the background, while you're doing that, because you're using something that makes your life easier, that's the key part. It makes your life easier. We're taking all of that data and we're searching hundreds of local, state, and federal tax incentives in the background while you're doing your normal course of business. So
now, we accomplished both of those rules.
Yeah. Now this all starts with, the same process no matter what. And Kendra, somebody either uses one of the social templates that your team puts out, an email template, maybe they do an explainer video, whatever the case is.
Blog articles, everything that we have available, they all lead back to one of the locations that are going to get where we need them to. This is just a example of one on your screen right now. And we end up collecting that data, right, Ryan?
Yeah. And so no matter what, it's all going to point towards a survey eventually, a landing page that looks something like this. We have a lot of them. And then Kendra, we're going to survey. We're going to collect some basic information, and we're going to use that information to generate a savings for that client.
And the way that we walk through this is so simple. It's easy. It's not complicated. The questions are basic.
Yeah.
And we're able to pull in by some basic questions just the information that we need to understand where they sit as far as the overall landscape of their tax credits. But being able to do that in such a simple format really moves them through the journey quickly.
Now, the impressive thing about this is with just a few questions, we're able to go search hundreds of local, state, and federal tax incentives. And we come back and present to the client some options. And at that point, the client's going to decide which programs they want to participate in, which programs maybe they don't, or maybe they've already taken them, whatever the case is. And Kendra, yes, then they're going to sign up for what package. They're going to pay us a monthly fee. It happens every day. It's not something you need to be afraid of. But this is where some magical happens. And now this client in this moment, it could be 2 o'clock in the morning with no human interaction involved. Kendra, they just became a tax management system client. And
wrap your mind around that, how simple we've created this process. Now they're in the system and we can look at every single incentive or credit that we have available to them.
Yeah. So I think at this point, Kendra, let's, dive in a little deeper and help people understand what happens at that point. Like once someone
all the behind the scenes magic that happens.
Exactly. So if you think about QuickBooks, the first thing that happens when you log in is we want to know some data. We want to know what type of business you are, what states you operate in. And it's called a setup wizard.
Yep. So we have that within the tax management system, and that setup wizard asks them some basic questions about the business that they need for their HRIS to work appropriately. We gather that information, such as the industry they're in, the number of employees, annual payroll, whether or not they're a startup. And then the next thing we do is we ask them questions about their locations. And what this does is it just adds to that information that we need. Again, keeping the questions very basic: how many locations, where they're at, how many people are at each location, if they own that facility, if they've done renovations, their annual property taxes, all very basic questions that the person who's accessed it should have, that information at their disposal.
But in the background, in the normal course of their business, we were just able to trigger cost segregation for any properties that might qualify. We're able to trigger, property tax.
Right.
And we're able to trigger all of these different incentives, including local and state level incentives, just
through their setup wizard.
Yeah. The next part, Kendra, that we ask is we like to know about the employees that have worked for them over the last few years. So they're going to do this by generally uploading a few payroll reports. This is usually out of their payroll system. It's nothing too hard. So if we take a manufacturing company, in this instance, and we look at them, we're getting some more information here, and such as type of work performed, number of new hires, number of employees, all these different things. And we're able to trigger things like the R&D tax credit, other programs like ERC or disaster ERC. All of these things can be triggered.
And I want to point out what you just saw on your screen there, as those little people turned green, that's symbolic of us taking a look at the tax credit and those credits applying to those employees.
Yeah.
So that's so impactful. We're able to ask those questions and immediately get the process going and know whether or not they're going to qualify for R&D.
Yeah, and we'll dive in exactly how that works in some future sessions. But understand, Kendra, with the number of programs we're looking at, between all the Section 41 employer credits, COVID ERC, disaster ERC, what you have representative here, and they'll see this in future sessions, is that, Kendra, almost every employee is going to qualify for something.
Right.
And that's huge for the employer.
Exactly. And so we're asking those questions, like we said, in the normal course of their business. This isn't interruptive. It's seamless because they're utilizing the system. And you can see there all of those little people that just turn green, whether it's light green or dark green, that's symbolic of an R&D tax credit or a COVID ERC credit or a disaster area credit. So that's huge.
Yeah. And we don't stop there, because a lot of these credits are annual, and we can come back and keep doing it on their current employees every year. But the last category that I want to look at is we actually look at their future employees. Okay. And we're going to talk more about this again in another segment, but I want to talk for a moment about the work opportunity tax credit. And with this, what it allows us to do is go find upwards of a quarter of their workforce that they're going to hire in the future, and we're going to get tax credits for them too. So think of it this way.
Ryan, I want to point something out before you wrap, because you have a great wrap here. You just said something really important. So we engage on a continual basis, month over month, year over year, for this exact purpose.
Yeah.
We can't just engage once and be able to know what they make changes in their business. They buy different locations. People get terminated. They hire new people. You know, they change. WOTC changes their target groups. So we have to be continually engaged with them. So to answer that question that some of you are asking yourselves, why do we have to have a monthly engagement? So that we can continue on a regular basis, on a routine basis, to get them all the tax incentives that they need.
These are tax incentives on the locations they own, the locations they will own in the future, the renovations they've done, the renovations they will do in the future, the employees they've had for the last 4 years, the employees they'll have this year, and the employees they'll hire for the next 20 years. We're monitoring every step of the way and triggering tax incentives over and over and over again. Now, it's not about a few dollars a month, okay? That is the comfort level that the client has with us. What this is really about, it's about building that relationship in a manner that they're used to. Okay. They pay monthly for their USPS account. They pay monthly for their Office 365. They pay monthly. So what we're able to do by charging a small monthly fee is we're able to bypass that lengthy sales process. Again, if you walk in and say, I want to talk to you about Section 41 tax credits. Okay. Well, we got to get the board involved in that.
Yeah.
But if you walk in and say, hey, we have this small monthly software that monitors for tax credits, and then we produce forms for you and show you how to capture them, and it's a few bucks a month. Now, all of a sudden, this is something that, Kendra, we see more than half of our signups come from people in the operations division or management division. They're not even owners.
It's attainable at that point. It doesn't seem like it's above their pay grade. It's something that they can, that assimilates right into their role. And it's something that is positive for the business overall. So
absolutely,
it's just the way to do it.
So we'll show you more of that as we go in segments. But, you know, Kendra, let's talk a little bit about, we've talked about the benefits to the client. We're going to talk about that more in a minute, but let's talk a little bit about the benefits to our partners.
This is important because obviously being able to bring this to our client base is great, but we need to know how it affects you. There's no barrier. This is probably the easiest entry point service you'll ever have. It's low cost. Every company needs it. It opens the door to any other services that you might have. Additionally, it generates your immediate commission with cost seg and the residual commission with R&D, with WOTC. So I want you to see that as it's spun. It's going to give that constant relationship that you're going to build with that client. It's ongoing. We're staying engaged with them month over month. Thus, they become a client for life. It also helps to build those referrals and those CPA partnerships that you need to kind of solidify and make your service portfolio as good as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. So it is, I love one of the key things there. It's the easiest point of entry. Okay. You're not going to get
It
an easier
really is.
sale than something that's a few bucks a month that finds clients money.
And
And that,
builds you a lifelong client.
yeah.
Wrap your mind around that. Like we're using an example of R&D. R&D is every year, every
Yeah.
single year. Just by getting them engaged with the tax management system, they give you lifelong clients.
So
I love this. We're going to take a look at a couple of case studies.
yeah, we've got a few companies here that I want you to kind of walk through just so people can understand. Now, one tax management client could qualify for all of our services and often
Right.
does. But here, Kendra, you've got a few case studies. The photos are not real, but the case studies are.
And these are just the 1 year benefit. So just keep that in your mind a little bit. As far as R&D, plastics manufacturer, the R&D benefit was $570,000. And this manufacturer to the left of them, their benefit was $600,000. Then we have a food processing plant that was $1.1 million. But the question you're really asking is how much you're going to make, right? So the commission on that plastic manufacturer was $7,980. That main manufacturer was about $8,400, and that food processing plant was $15,400. So not bad when you're talking about just 1 year.
And that's this service, and that's up front. So one client coming in is going to qualify for multiple services. So that same client, we're going to come in and we're going to do ERC for them. So, Kendra, you've got a few examples here, and let's talk through those on some ERC companies. And again, the photos may not be real, but I'll tell you I went too far. Sorry. The photos may not be real, but the case studies most certainly are.
This first one being a home healthcare company, their benefit was 3.6 and the commission was 21,000. Then we move on to that restaurant. Their benefit was about 2.5 and the commission was 15,000. And this software company was one of the larger ones for that time frame, and it was 6.7. So that commission to the advisor account rep was $40,000.
Yeah, so that's
great
ERC.
commission levels there.
That's on top of the money you made for the R&D and will continue to make. Now, those manufacturers, they tend to own their own buildings, but here's some other examples of people that own their own buildings. Again, these are real case studies. Kendra, walk us through these.
Yep, cost segregation. The first one was a retail facility. Their benefit was about $758,000. The commission to the advisor was about $8,800. Apartment complex, I believe this was 2 really small units that they had, 2 different, but right near each other. The benefit was $1.3 million. And the commission was $21,000. And then we had a grocery store out in California, 6 locations, $1.6 million, and the advisor commission was $36,000.
Yeah. And one of the things I'll say, like this grocery store chain, they continue to send us a few properties a year because as they go through, it's just they've been with us for a long time, and they continue to send us a few properties a year. So the last category I want to look at is the work opportunity tax credit. And same thing, this is long-term quarterly residual. Love this program.
I do too, because like you said earlier, WOTC is foundational. We build off of it and we keep them engaged because quarter over quarter, they're getting this benefit.
Yeah.
That first one is a 9-location auto dealership. They have about 310 new hires a year. Their benefit was $170,000 and the commission for just the year was about $2,500. Then we had this quick service restaurant. I believe it's like a McDonald's or something like that. They own 19 locations. They hire about 570 people a year. So their benefit was $314,000. The commission was just under $5,000. And then the staffing company, and they do routine hiring. So it's like 1,300 people. Their benefit was just over $1 million. And the commission for that year was $16,000 for the advisor.
So when you look at bringing in these clients, again, they're going to qualify for all of these services. So these are stacked. You're getting some money up front. You may be going to get some money after 90 days, and then you're going to get some money every quarter. And then you're going to get some money year over year, depending on the type of client. So it's a great setup. And that is why, Kendra, it's so important that everything and everybody understand that the tax management system is not only a service, it's really your fundamental service for everything that you do.
Definitely. What a great breakdown of the tax management system. I'm sure you all have a really good foundational understanding now of why it's where everything begins, right, Ryan?
Yeah. And, you know, again, later we're going to teach you how to get clients for tax management. But right now, what we're doing is we're just talking about the service. These are 15-minute breakdowns to teach you about the service. And again, today's TMS, today's WOTC, and then next month we'll be doing cost seg and R&D. But later in today's call, we'll talk about how to get clients for TMS, how to get clients for WOTC. Kendra, WOTC, WOTC, Work Opportunity Tax Credit.
Right.
This service has been around for a long time. It's one that clients really love.
Right. And most of our clients are always, or for the most part, aware of it. It's just been notoriously difficult for them to take. And so they kind of just give up on it. But we're able to bring this to the table in a way that's so simple and so easy with our platform. And I think it's time that we just go ahead and take a look at that now. On this installment of Master Your Service Portfolio, we're going to focus on the Work Opportunity Tax Credit, or WOTC.
I always say the Workers Opportunity Tax Credit, even though I've been doing this for so long. I love this service. It's my favorite. Of course, if you've gone through other segments, you know, I say that they're all my favorite. But I will tell you what I like about it. Quarterly residual, lifetime with a client. Our churn rate on this service is only 4%. You know, only 4% of people ever leave us for this service. It does take a couple quarters before we start making money on a client, but that's okay because this is the type of service that you can just stack clients in.
Right.
And you just go out there and get client after client after client because it's such an easy sign up. The last part I want to say that I love about it is it's a service that people have heard of. When you go out to someone and talk about cost segregation or R&D tax credit, there's a pretty good chance they've never heard of it before. But with the Work Opportunity Tax Credit, not only have they heard of it, they've often done it and it was difficult. So you're going to get to demonstrate to a client that this is, something that we've made really easy and they can do. But right now, everybody's wondering, what is WOTC? And so, Kendra, I guess we should slow down before I talk about why it's our favorite. And I guess before you talk about what is WOTC, I want to remind everybody, last thing, everything starts in the tax management system. Okay. It is the center of your everything. And for today, we're talking about just one service, but this system is going to qualify everything that we can do for that client. But again, we're talking about WOTC. So Kendra, let's start with what it actually stands for, not what I always accidentally say that it stands for.
Well, it is officially the Work Opportunity Tax Credit. It's a federal tax credit that's available to employers for hiring from specific target groups. And I believe there's 10 target groups right now. The average benefit per each qualified employer is about $2,400, but it can be as much as $9,600 for certain groups.
So when we're thinking about this, I mean, what makes a client eligible? Help everybody kind of understand that.
Basically, it just boils down to any employer and if they hire out of these target groups, which is any employer. So that's what you have to wrap your mind around. What makes them eligible? Do they hire people? And if they do hire people, Ryan, it's really important to know that almost 25% of those that they hire are going to qualify. So,
when this launched in the 50s, I think people think of this as originally it was like a veterans credit, and then it was a ex-felon credit and things like that. And really what's happened in the last 20 years is that every time the government has like extra money that they want to throw at stuff, they tend to stuff it into the Work Opportunity Tax Credit, where they say, okay, well, like right now, one of our newest things is unemployment. So people that are unemployed, which we're experiencing kind of a boom in right now.
So that's the target group that's bringing in the most WOTC certifications right now is the long-term unemployed. So when you're thinking about it, don't narrow it down to some type of, it's this credit or that credit, like Ryan just said. Think of it as a benefit to anyone that hires, because no matter what industry they're in, there's a 23% across the board that people are going to fall into one of these categories. So every employer.
Now, every employer is what we want, but all employers aren't created equal. And this is something you're going to see repeat in kind of all of our service segments. Some companies make better clients than others. And there's a few factors that would cause this. One is Higher benefit for the client. Higher benefit, of course, means higher commission for you, our partners. So, Kendra, what are some of the clients that are better than others?
So for WOTC, specifically restaurants, staffing companies, medical facilities, manufacturing, retail, construction, and auto dealerships. That's our top 7. They just seem to always fit the bill for WOTC.
And maybe their qualification rates are going to be much higher than that 23% for some of
Right.
those. And really what it comes down to, I'll give you a little cheat sheet here. Those are the types of companies that tend to hire a lot of employees, and they tend to have high turnover.
Exactly.
So some of the businesses have 50 to 100% turnover year over year in their business. So that's giving us that much more opportunity because, you take a mega company that maybe hires X people per year versus you could have a small restaurant that hires just as many people because of that turnover. And so it maybe only works for them for a couple of months. So that's what makes someone a good program. Kendra, everything starts with the same process. It's posting a social ad or sending
an email or sending a blog article or sending a text.
Yeah.
Always pushing them to one of your landing pages, which is symbolized by what you see on your screen right here. This isn't the landing page. We have many, but once we get them here, we just ask some basic questions and we start collecting that information that we need.
And no matter what, it's always going to lead to us saying, here's some programs you qualify for, no matter what path you take. If you have a restaurant and you send them to your restaurant landing page and they watch the restaurant explainer video that's on their page, ultimately, we're going to say, here's some programs you qualify for, and here's a program that you want to participate in, which is going to lead them to the tax management system. You're going to get used to seeing this over and over again.
Everybody sees how it's starting to work together, right?
Yeah. Now, if you watched how the tax management system works, one of the things you understand is it all starts with a setup wizard. Now, I want to show you how WOTC works. But of course, Kendra, we're going to screen for their locations.
We're going to do locations and we're going to do their existing employees. And we talk about those in our other installments. But then we get to their future employees. And this is where WOTC comes into play.
So I want you to understand what WOTC is. Now that you understand what WOTC is, I want you to understand how it works. So let's say that a company is hiring a new manager. We know that they have to candidate about 10 people to hire that one person. Candidate means take a serious look at. Now, what the average company does is they don't take WOTC at all. They hire that person, and even though that person might be worth $2,400, they don't do anything. They don't bother with the paperwork. It's too complicated, that kind of thing. There are some people that, when they go through this process, they'll go one step further and they play what I call the WOTC lottery. So they hire this person, and then their payroll company or whoever has given them some spare forms they had sitting in the basement. And they say, hey, fill one of these out and send that into the state. And in about 90 days, we'll let you know. That person may not even work for you anymore, but you certainly hired them. It's too late to do anything about it. And we'll let you know if they qualify. In this case, no, they don't. Okay, so you get $0 for that. And then you have our model, which we call an educated decision, or I call it our predictive model. Okay, what this does is we look and we say, of those 10 people, we're going to use an AI model to look at which programs that individual may qualify for. Because Kendra, how many times have you had 10 people that you were looking at and maybe 2 or 3 of them were a good fit, but you couldn't decide?
Yeah, that's usually what happens with hiring is you kind of narrow it down to 2 or 3 that, I hate to say it, could be interchangeable for their role. So you start looking at different things in their background or what kind of benefits they can bring to the table outside of that.
Now, what if one of those people, they were kind of tied, qualified for no tax incentives, and the other one qualified for maybe a $2,400 or a $9,600 tax credit? That may sway your decision a little bit.
It may. And honestly, that's what the whole basis of WOTC is for. So some people look at that and say, well, we can't do that. That's actually what the tax credit is designed for.
Yeah. Now you multiply that out by all the positions of a company for the whole year. And so for a company that's even going to hire 10 people, think of how many people they're going to candidate. And so the system can use this predictive model to go in the background and say, hey, of the people you're considering for roles, here's the people that qualify. Now, here's what I want to tell you is that in a normal environment, people are going to find 20 to 25% of the people that walk through the door are naturally going to qualify for WOTC. But look at the power we give them. Okay. If they wanted to, they could hire only people that qualify. And we have staffing companies and things like that that use the system exactly like that. And it's completely, again, Kendra, how the system's designed. So they can go in and say, okay, we're going to select the people that are right for the job. But of course, we're going to be influenced by how many of these people qualify for a tax incentive. So
it doesn't mean that they're always going to hire based on whether or not there's a tax incentive, but they have the opportunity to make that decision as part of the hiring process with our system.
Yeah. So that's what our system does in the background. You know, Kendra, what's in it for the client, I guess, you know, as we
money.
look at this, what
money.
I mean, that's in it short.
It boils down to the fact that it really can offset the HR expenses. HR is one of those divisions within a business that only takes, it doesn't actually generate money. So it can begin to offset that by anywhere between $2,400 and $9,600 per qualified employee. And that's a federal tax incentive. It increases the profitability and cash flow. And if those credits are unused, they can be carried back a year and forward 20 years. So they don't lose out on them. They're always there for them to utilize.
Yeah. So as always, let's kind of take a look a little bit at some case studies. These are a few examples of companies, you know, that would be good qualifiers. And you mentioned some earlier, but Kendra, walk us through a little bit so that everyone kind of understand how much they could make on a client coming in.
Remember, these are foundational. WOTC is a foundational credit. So this is quarterly that our client is seeing money coming in, and you're seeing it quarterly and then residual year over year. So this auto dealership, it had 9 locations. They have about 310 new hires a year. Their benefit was $170,000. The commission for that advisor was about $2,500 for that year. Then there's a restaurant. I believe it was like McDonald's or something. They had 19 locations. They had about 570 new hires a year, and their benefit was $314,000. So that commission was $4,700. And then the staffing company, they obviously hired a larger scale. So they had about 1,300 new hires. Their benefit was just over $1 million, and the advisor commission was $16,380.
And the thing I want you to understand, this is this service. So those clients are going to go on to do other services with you, and, you know, and you're going to make money on all of those. And the other thing, again, this is an easy sign up. So you should be able to go out there and get several of these a week. And, you know, maybe somebody's looking there and they say $2,500 a year, that's nothing. Well, you can go out there and get dozens of these clients doing this on top of cost seg and everything else they're doing.
Right. And that's what they have to keep in mind is when we're engaging with this client constantly, we are a part of their HR platform, and we're bringing them quarterly money into a department that would otherwise not have any income. You're staying engaged. So that's the hook with WOTC. It's foundational because it opens the door for everything else.
Yeah, this restaurant, they're also going to do ERC with us. This auto dealership, I mean, you could make $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 in commission just on the dealerships they own, let alone the renovations. And the staffing company, they're going to give you, the thing about a staffing company, they have clients. So every time they place one of those employees, those companies are generally going to become a client of yours. So one staffing company could lead to dozens or hundreds of new clients. So that's what we love about WOTC within the tax management system. And that's why we think it's such a key service for you to focus in on.
That's awesome. So now we have a basic understanding of TMS, and we have a basic understanding of WOTC. But now I know all of you are asking, like, okay, that's great. Understand it. But you guys, how do I get out there and get clients? And this is always the big question that we come back to.
I think knowledge is only part of it. And honestly, if I had to choose between the last 15 minutes on understanding WOTC or what's about to come, you could get by on what's about to come alone. But you can't get by having product knowledge without knowing how to get in front of clients. Kendra, this is the key part. And I would also say this is the part that partners always reach out and want to know.
Right.
So
I honestly think when it comes to like support, they get more questions on how to actually get the client, whether that be marketing or closing, or what do I say, or, how does this work, than any other topic that we have. Services, beside the point, you guys come in with enough knowledge, basic knowledge, that's all you need.
Yeah.
But this is where the questions come in. And I think that we've done a really good job creating this amazing place, the toolbox, where everything comes together for you.
Yeah.
And being able to understand how all of that works together for you to get clients is really, really important.
I think too, I want people to understand this is the culmination of years and years worth of work. We, for years, did weekly focus, we did monthly focus, fall focus, tax season focus. And what we ended up with was spread over a lot of different tool sets.
Yeah.
There were these great scripts, and people would say, hey, do you have any good scripts on how to approach commercial realtors? And we're like, oh yeah, back in,
in
2018,
fall
focus, we did a commercial realtor section or a CPA section, or, back in 2016, we did this great manufacturing. And so what we decided to do was have one place that had absolutely everything. So Kendra, we're talking verbal scripts. We're talking about social media scripts, email templates, just everything
that you need to be a marketing expert for the tax management system and all of your specialized tax incentives. Not only that, I really do believe that the training that's included in the toolbox and some of the things that we the extra stuff that we give you, it really rolls over into every aspect of what you're doing. All of you almost have additional services. And what we bring to the table for you when it comes to the marketing toolbox, that extra training, really rolls over into all of those aspects. It just gives you all these bonuses, learning about kind of socially where things are at and where you should be because of where we're at in timeline and things of that nature. It just makes everything work together and makes you more successful when it boils down to it.
I'm going to steal your line, Kendra, but let's take a look.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to your step-by-step walkthrough of the marketing toolbox. Everything you need to know to make the impression you want.
Well, Kendra, the first thing I want people to understand, these aren't just a bunch of email templates that we guessed at and threw up there. We have a full marketing department. This is 20 years in the making. Okay. And really the way to think of it is this is like the all-star of all-stars. We've got the best email campaigns that have ever performed well. Everything in here has, in our case, open rates of 40, 50%, and click-through rates for our social ads that are, 3 and 4 times industry normal. So, I just want people to understand that every tool in here is already tested, tried, and true. Now, the way you get here is from your portal homepage. And if you don't know how to do that, then reach out to support. But Kendra, this is their marketing toolbox, and It's got their name, their info on it.
Yep. Right down here, you'll see everything in the corner, and it follows you through onto every page, which we'll show you in just a moment. What you're viewing right now is the homepage.
Now, the only thing I want to touch on the homepage, Kendra, if you'd scroll all the way to the bottom for me, there's this part called leveling up your game that you're going to see. And what this is it's exactly that. It's ways to level up your game. So the first one's Quick Start. Quick Start is for brand new people. It's a 4-week program. If the toolbox is a buffet where you walk up and you'd say, I'd like some social and I want to target some restaurants. How do I reach out to CPAs? That's a buffet. Quick Start is the chef's tasting menu. It's just the opposite. It's where you just say, I'd like the chef's choice. And we bring something new every 4 weeks for you, or every week for 4 weeks. So it's things like, here's some industries you want to target. Here's what you say to them. I'd recommend if you're new, that's where you start. Masterclass. This is the opposite of basic. This is the opposite of quick. Okay. These are 4 sessions where we teach you how to build out a social presence, how to go run paid marketing ads on Facebook. And you can do this for just a few bucks. If you want to go out and you want to find all the restaurants in your areas and send a targeted message that we've drafted for you, driving to, say, your appointment calendar or to your custom landing page, this is where you're going to do that. If you want to see email, campaigns with 10 and 15 emails in the series, this is where we're going to teach you how to do that. From there, we have more training. And the last one I want to touch on is the Platinum Insiders Club. This is a free program available to people that have great contacts. If you know manufacturers, commercial property owners, employers, things like that, you might want to go see what Platinum Insider Clubs we're offering right now. We open up enrollment various times of the year. You can apply to be a part of it. It's free. All you have to do is have great contacts, because we're going to give you dedicated access to our team. And because of that, we just want to know that you're going to be able to make use of it. So I wanted to quick touch on that. But Kendra, the real thing we're going to talk about, let's scroll to the top of the page. And Kendra, tell them about the navigation here and how they navigate this page.
Right. So where you're at right now is the homepage that Ryan told you. You can access that from your portal or by reaching out to support. Then your subsequent pages are the verbal and SMS scripts, the email templates, social posts, landing pages, and blog articles. And the first spot we're going to go to is the verbal and SMS scripts. I'm just going to take a look right here. You'll notice that they do tend to look the same. They're all laid out the same so that they have the same consecutive feel and everything's organized in the same format.
So from there, we'll have various scripts. This first one here, this is our main script that we have available. It's kind of like your elevator pitch, so to speak, and you can customize this. It's going to have your link. You could do anything with this. You could say it, you could text it, you could email it. It's just, it's a great script. From there, you're going to see several categories. We've got my SMS script. I say my because I use this all the time to close business. Okay. You can send this, do it back and forth. You're the one in red, and you cut and paste those in, and you're going to close ERC deals with that. We've also got things like voicemail follow-up. We've got, in-person script. We've got phone scripts, and we've got how to get in front of meetings. So all of those things are available. And then Kendra, I love this next section here. You've got rebuttals, because people get so freaked out. Like, I don't want to call because what if they say?
Right. So we pulled this in recently, and basically this is just answers to questions you may or may not run into when you're in the field. They're basic responses to redirect the conversation back where you want to, back to get the client back on the journey. And they're pretty basic. They're questions that sometimes partners run into. So I would encourage you to get in here, get familiar with them, kind of use them in some role playing, so that when these questions do come up in your course of speaking to a potential client, you'll have the immediate access to that memory bank and know how to redirect them, get them back on track.
Yeah. Now, if that's not enough, we've got some specialty scripts below that. These are, things like how to reach out to a commercial property owner, or talking to CPAs, getting past gatekeepers, specialty stuff. Okay. I think the core of it at the top is going to get you by, but this is there as well. So that's it for verbal and SMS. Kendra, next up, we have the next way you'd communicate, which we all communicate this way a lot, is emails.
Right. So our email page, get back up here to the top. Our email page, again, looks very similar when you first log in, but the information here is quite different. What's nice is that you're given this kind of intro to get you started and to understand how to utilize and actually cut and paste the scripts below.
Yeah. Kendra, I want to hijack for a minute and talk about this first one for a minute. All the time, partners want to know, how do I introduce myself? And this one right here is it. Now, if you're in premium, you're going to want to use the premium ones. Okay. They'll either have a crown or they'll just say the word premium, because they're going to have integrated video and things like that. But if not, you can use the basic ones. But what this is for positioning yourself. So people want to know all the time, hey, my client knows me as a commercial realtor or as a financial planner. How am I going to tell them about this? And this does that. It positions without taking away your identity. This is where you can say, hey, I'm following up. How did things work out with that commercial property I sold you last year? By the way, because of all the tax credits available, we've opened a new division. And that's the way you explain yourself. Now, Kendra, each of these email templates has their signature line, their phone number, and their website built in.
Right.
I want to point that out. Ones, videos.
Yep.
Yeah. So we've got a lot of them here.
We've got some for any business owner, a business owner follow-up, new contact check-in, contacting a CPA or tax planner, commercial property owners. These ones are important because they're service focused or service specific. Obviously, we're going to promote cost segregation more when we're offering it to a commercial property owner. So both of these emails do that as well. And one thing that I want to point out is you can't actually see the links because they are within this little blue bar. But when you take the time, and I'm going to show you actually how you're going to do this, you're going to highlight it just like this. You're going to right click, you're going to copy, and you're simply going to paste that entire thing over into your email provider. And it's going to grab this beautiful blue bar. And when they click on it, it's going to be your link and lead to the page that we thought would work best for whichever email that it's in.
Yeah. So next up, we have some email templates that integrate video. Now, we don't embed the video. That would be too large. We give links to the video. So here we've got a few service-based ones that focus in and integrate email. But last up is my favorite, Kendra, and that is your beautiful HTML email templates. When I look at this as a partner, I would think I would never know how to create something like this without going and buying a constant contact.
Right. And you don't have to.
List and things like that.
What's nice is the instructions right here are how to use it. It's very simple. And I won't go into that because when you're in here, you can easily access that. I will show them to you though, and they are beautiful. And what you're looking at right now is 3 individual HTML emails. One, if you scroll to the bottom, it kind of gives you a description. One is the TMS explainer, one's an ERC explainer, one's more than ERC. And what these are designed for is they're designed for you to get that extra credibility, kind of the flashiness, if you will, that expertise of a professionally designed email. Imagine you get to send this out directly from your own personal email box. And most of us would look at this and say, I don't know how I would ever create an email like that. You don't have to. We've done it for you. All the links within these emails, again, go back to your personalized pages. So when it comes over, it comes directly from you. It's kind of amazing. I'm really excited about it. And these are going to be great to get using.
Yeah. Now, we don't have time to keep going, but if we were to keep scrolling the page, you'd have industry-focused one and service-focused ones, all those kind of things. But Kendra, that's it for email. What I want to move them into now is social. And listen, don't discount social. Don't think I don't have the right contacts for that. You are loaded up with a ton of different stuff. Now, you're going to see some stuff with the little crown. That means premium, okay? And so that's our premium content. There's a lot of standard content. There's premium content. See the little crown there. So Kendra, let's assume we're premium. If so, when you click on it, this is what it's going to look like. And you're going to see premium social templates, which I think most of you are in premium. Now, premium are higher assets. It's integrated video, things like that. But the first ones I want to touch on is, Kendra, they've got their own explainer videos. They can cut and paste these right into Facebook, right into LinkedIn, and show them how to do that.
It's so simple. That's it. You're going to highlight both of these little sentences right here, right click, copy, go over to your social network and paste it. And what that's going to do is that's going to actually pull in the video for you along with the verbiage and the link that you want to direct them to. And it works on both. You're literally highlight, copy, paste, and you're done.
Yeah. Now, the social graphics, these perform very well. This is a graphic with some text. Now, these ones, Kendra, are a little different steps. So let's show them how to do that.
Again, when you're getting the content or the verbiage, you're just going to highlight it, copy and paste it. But the image itself, you're on this page that you see, you're going to right click on the image and you're going to save it to your desktop or a folder, however you choose to do that. And then you're going to go over to your social network and you're literally just going to upload the image that you just downloaded and paste in this verbiage. It's that simple.
Yeah. So we've got ones for employers. We've got ones for commercial property owners, hotels, restaurants. I mean, Kendra, show them all of these different assets that are there. This is just beautiful. Restaurants, retail, so many different ones. And
so
of course,
I guess honestly say that you have enough assets here to keep you busy for several months if you're posting on a regular basis.
Now you're going to see peppered throughout. And if you scroll to the bottom of this page, Kendra, as an example, if you want to put these to work, you can go get in masterclass. Okay. This is where we're going to take you through. We're going to teach you all of these different assets. But if you don't want to do that, you can just cut and paste and use these the way they are. So that is social. Next up, we have our pages.
Landing pages. This is fun because of the number of landing pages that we have and how you get to use them.
Yeah, so everyone has a general landing page. You've probably seen this 1,000 times. It's got a calculator. It's got the ability for a client to sign up. It's got a great value proposition. But beyond that, we have so many other landing pages. We have video-based ones. We have service-based ones. We have industry-targeted ones. Okay, the thing I want you to understand, general is a great approach for everyone else, okay? But if you can be specific, you're going to land with a lot more. I mean, you think about something like fishing, which I know almost nothing about, but here's what I do know. I know if you want to catch a certain kind of fish, I've been out deep sea fishing before, they put a certain kind of bait on that fish, okay? Because that's what's going to attract. And that's really the same thing that we see with specialty messaging. So if I go and I say tax credits for employers, okay, that might get some attention. But listen, if I go through and I show some videos that target a specific message, like there's a tax credit for that, or the ERC tax credit, now all of a sudden, Kendra, I'm piquing more interest on these pages.
Right. And the further you can drill in, the more interest is generated, or the quicker you can generate interest. So we actually have all the different pages for services, WOTC, we have the ERC explainer with and without the videos, R&D, cost seg, tax management. And then additionally, when you scroll down even further, we have
these ones.
industry.
These are my favorite.
Yeah. Did you want to take a quick look at one of these?
Yeah, let's take a look. And which one are you going to do?
Manufacturing.
Okay.
So what I love about this page is that they can actually navigate through the page up here, just like it's its own individual platform, which is amazing. Like you have a page that a client can navigate through at your fingertips that's specific for their industry. What I love is that the imagery and verbiage we use throughout is specific to the manufacturing industry. They're put in a certain order specifically because we know that's what's going to generate the highest interest. Everything we've used here, even explaining the system, the video that we use here, taking them through each step, a case study, then we actually explain and kind of wrap up with why they should be going after these tax credits. This page works so well, and it's designed for multiple different industries that we already have ready for you to get using.
Yeah, and every call to action points to you. It might go over to your blog, which I'll show you next. You didn't even know you had one. It might go over to one of your other landing pages. It might go to your calculator page, but everything is encompassed to you and going to lead back to you. So that's pages. Kendra, what I love is when you can pair specific messaging in a social ad and specific messaging in an email, driving them to a specific page. I mean, this is where we're going to see high conversion. Last up, blogs and press releases. Did you know you had press releases? Did you know you had a blog? Kendra, let's take a look at that first one. This is their press release. If you've never posted this, listen, start here, okay? This is dynamic. So this one says Michigan because I'm in Michigan, okay? So Michigan businesses finally get much needed relief. And here's the cool part. Kendra, I see my name.
Yep.
I see my phone number, my email address,
yes.
all my
it's
information.
Pull in your state, your name, your state again, and then it's going to reference you again here at the bottom where it pulls in how to contact you right here. And then this is your calculator. It takes them out directly to your landing page. It's going to be able to process them and get them in as a tax management system client. What's even nicer is you can share from right within the blog. We've got these great icons here for Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn, or you can simply go up here to the URL and copy and paste this anywhere you'd like to share this article. And this is just one of many that's ready and at your disposal right now.
Yeah. So Kendra, that's the toolbox as a whole. I think last up, there's this little help button. So if that doesn't answer,
this is my favorite part. So this is an amazing tool set. And I think that we've really laid it out well. It's organized, it's easy to access and self-explanatory. But when you do run into a question, see this little help button down here in the right-hand corner, just click on that. You can search for anything that you'd like, and it's going to bring up lots of little different articles for you. Or if that didn't suffice and that didn't answer your question, simply click contact us, fill this out and send. Now, I do want to give you a little secret. the support requests that come in via this specific form get elevated, and they're actually answered quicker than any other way that they come in. And there's a reason for that. It's because we know you're in and you're currently utilizing the system. So we want to hurry up and get you support to keep you moving. So little tip, if you want quick access, quick support, go in there and use this little help button right here.
Yeah. So that is it. That is your marketing toolbox. Again, you can find that in the portal or reach out to support and they'll help you find your personalized toolbox. Kendra, this changes all the time.
It does. We're constantly adding, changing, twisting things up and giving you new items all the time. Make sure to use your specific and only your specific marketing toolbox, because every single link leads back to your pages, your blog articles, your social posts. Everything is yours. So make sure you're always logged in correctly. You can check that by seeing your information down here in the left-hand corner as well.
Well, that's the marketing toolbox. It does not work unless you put it to work. So that's my big challenge for you is get to work cutting and pasting. Okay, that sounds bad. Get to work cutting and pasting. But that's exactly what we mean. Get to work cutting and pasting. So I like that. It doesn't work unless you put it to work.
It's our new logo. What a great breakdown of the marketing toolbox. I hope that each and every one of you get a chance to get in there and take advantage of it. Reach out for any questions that you have. It's there to be used. And I mean, kind of ties back together on how you're going to get those clients. The secret is use the tools that have been provided.
Yeah.
You know,
Kendra, are we going to like semi end a broadcast on time? It seems
I think so.
Yeah. I think that's the key. So proper planning, that was all about, getting clients and, things like that. And again, I think it's a really important part, but there's something else we've got going and I want to make sure we know about it.
This is the big talk right now. So Summer Breeze is going strong. We are several weeks in. It is looking amazing.
Yeah.
If you have not already, go ahead, jump in and take advantage of it. Get signed up. You can do that through the support department. Just email or call in and say, I'm not in Summer Breeze. Can you sign me up? Remember, if there's some reason like you're going overseas or something, we've gotten a couple people like that and you don't want to get the emails anymore, just email us in and let us know. Don't unsubscribe. That keeps you from getting everything else. So if you haven't already, get started with Summer Breeze because we've had some great success, haven't we, Ryan?
Yeah, I got a little cheat sheet here. I want to talk about what's working. I have some stats here and everything. Kendra, the nice thing about our system is when someone shares one of the social posts that you post in there, we can see how it performed. We can also see, because you send different emails to different pages, we can see the traction on that. So I have a cheat sheet here and I'm going to tell you basically what's working. Who doesn't want to know that? So first of all, 16% of the signups that we've had come out of Summer Breeze, because we're using different tracking codes and different pages, are simply coming from one activity, and that is social post. So that's you taking one of the focuses that Kendra asked you to do and posting it. Okay, you post on Facebook. We know the ads we're using. We know traffic that's coming from Facebook. So that's 16% of our signups. The rest, overwhelming majority, that's coming in from one activity that we're really excited to see. And that is when you cut and paste one of the emails that Kendra recommends, send it to the population that she recommends, and send it to someone you know. Now, we know when it's coming off of because we're using specific links in those email templates so we can see the traffic that's coming in. So, Kendra, this part is really exciting to see because I got to tell you, when you and the marketing team do something, it's kind of, I remember when you were putting this together, the first thing you said, and I'm going to tell on you a little bit, you were almost in tears. I said, what's going on? And you said, I just want people to use this. And I'm excited because Kendra, people are using it.
Yes, it's so exciting to see success with it. There is a lot of time, research, just work that goes in behind the scenes for a culmination like Summer Breeze. And I really hope and I can see it because I'm seeing the numbers, but I really hope that you all get to take advantage of it and see the success that comes off of it, because it means that me and my team, we're doing something good and we're putting really good product out there for you to utilize and be successful. So if you haven't already, go sign up for Summer Breeze, reach
portal
out to the support
homepage.
department.
Let me tell you, top
Please.
activity again, in case you didn't catch it. Taking the focus that Kendra says. If she says, go target these people, do that. Then take the email template that she says and the social template that she says. If you're cutting and pasting them, following those steps, that is what's making it happen. Now, additionally, Kendra, we've got Platinum Insiders Club. Not going to talk about it a lot right now. You can view last month's broadcast for that, but you can still enroll in that.
Yes.
Making selections and things like that. But for now, let's talk about the action plan, the takeaway. Let's talk about what not to do in July, Kendra. Don't take the month off.
Yeah, don't sit on your butt. It's hard. July is beautiful and everybody has vacation time, and we get that. But with what we've provided you, we're going to make it as easy as possible, but do not take the month off.
Yeah. So Kendra's got some easy steps for you. I've got some slightly more difficult steps for you.
Yep. You know that we always give you work to do. Ryan's giving you the hard work this time. I'm giving you the easy work. If you haven't already, go get registered for Summer Breeze. If you have the proper connections that we discussed in Platinum Insiders Club and you haven't already signed up, go do that. You can do both of those. The simplest way is to reach out to the support department. I want you to mark your calendar for the August broadcast. We're going to tell you the date and time here in just a moment.
Here it is, August 7th, 3
p.m. Obviously,
that again in a second.
Always.
August 7th, 3 p.m.
So you're going to do that. And the last thing I want you to do is I want you to subscribe on Facebook and YouTube. And the reason I want you to do that is when we're doing our broadcasts, we want you to be able to interact with us. We want that instant feedback. We want to see your comments. The easiest way to do that is through the Facebook or YouTube sectors. Additionally, when we're pushing out specific
you're
extra
leaking.
bonuses and stuff like that, there's going to be some stuff to
out.
come. You need to be on Facebook to get that stuff. I'm sorry, there's no other platform that I'm going to be able to use to do this. So just, get out there, connect on Facebook. We don't care that you're using your personal account. It actually works better. Connect and then also do the same thing with the YouTube page or channel, because that's where some extra bonus content is going to be coming your way through the summer. Yeah,
this summer there's some impromptu live streaming going on that you'll see. It'll be impromptu. So, but then in the fall we're doing something really big on social that you're going to want to be a part of. Trust me. And so like on Facebook, subscribe. So now onto some hard work. Now I got to tell you, you got to do this. It's hard work, but it's not going to take much time. But I do want to kind of go over it with you here a little bit. So the first one is, Kendra, I want them to lock in their TMS pitch. Okay. Yeah. Now this can be found on that toolbox page that I was just showing you. Okay. What is your offering? Okay. Practice it at home a little bit. I've given you my script right there in the toolbox, but then you need to get out there and I want you to pitch it 5 times. Okay. Kendra, if they go pitch this, it is going to lock in their brain.
I remember learning stuff and then having to present, which is no different than going out and pitching. And I literally remember the first 4 times I presented the same information. And that's what got it locked in. You just got to get out there and you've got to do it. There's no other way to make yourself comfortable with it. Get out there, do it in person, and just get comfortable with yourself. Yeah.
So absolutely. Second thing I want you to do is I want you to go talk to at least 3 businesses specifically about WOTC. Now, Kendra, some people might be thinking, well, wait, you always tell us to go talk about TMS. Mm-hmm. But here, what I'm telling you is that if you go use a WOTC specific pitch, remember it leads to TMS, which leads to everything else. So am I saying I want you to only sell WOTC and nothing else? No, absolutely not. What I'm saying is I want you to lead in with WOTC in the same way.
I was just going to say, it's called a lead in, people.
Lead in. Just like we've been leading in with ERC, I want you to go lead in with WOTC. So when you go out to that restaurant, I want you to say, I work with restaurants on helping to find the work opportunity tax credit. What's that? It's a specific thing that you're going to talk about. And then Kendra, that leads into, and our platform does all these things.
Right.
See that you've done renovations here. Oh, wait, that's next month. I see that your company, oh, wait, that's next month too. But it doesn't matter because Kendra, if you lead in with a specific service like WOTC, then what's going to happen is it leads to everything else you want to do. So I want you to get used to that WOTC story that I talk about. You don't have to use the term WOTC lottery, but talk about the WOTC story. It's so impressive.
And so they can relate to it.
Yeah.
I guarantee you they can relate to it. Most businesses are aware of what it is. Like I said earlier, it's the history of WOTC has been notoriously difficult for a small business owner to claim. We make it easy. We make it attainable. And that's all they need to know. They're going to get back excited about it because they know what it is. They know how much money it can bring in, and they're familiar with it.
Yeah. And if they call their CPA is going to say, yeah, I've heard of that. And their CPA doesn't do it most likely. So that's WOTC. I want you to go talk to 3 businesses, get them enrolled, that kind of thing. And now use an email template from the toolbox. Okay. This is what I want you to use. What I want you to do is I want you to use a combination of HTML templates and some of the other templates that are in there. There's one specific that I reference is someone you have a previous relationship with.
And there's a number 10 right there, Ryan.
Yeah.
I left off the word prospects. So Ryan's asking you to do this at least 10 times.
Minimum. Okay. So minimum, get out there 10 times, use this email template. Now, and again, you've got all kinds of templates in there to choose from, but Kendra's got some beautiful HTML templates that her and the team have put together. And then don't forget someone you have a previous relationship with. It's a heading in there. And that one works so well. It's more of a on the end of plain text, but it is great. And I love that template. Last action item I have for you, post socially at least twice per week. Keep yourself relevant. Kendra, I love the way you've got that worded. Keep yourself relevant. Yeah. You can't disappear out of social trends. As small as your social trends may be, listen, I
there's
don't
science behind it.
Yeah.
You're building, as you're posting weekly, you're getting people familiar with your content. You're getting a little bit of a following, especially if you're posting blog articles and things like that. When you disappear, this upward trajectory just goes back to flatline. You have to start all over. Yeah. So just at least be posting once or twice a week, and you can reuse stuff. People don't remember that image was used 6 weeks ago.
And then in the fall, when we do what we're going to do in the fall, you having posted consistently on your personal Facebook is what we're talking about, not some business page, anything like that. It's going to help you participate in what we do in the fall. So that part is so important. So that's my work for you, Kendra. This
is one of the tasks I gave you a minute ago, but to wrap up our training today, I'm really excited. I do feel like you guys are walking away with some mastery over some of your services, with some excitement, seeing where, Summer Breeze is gone and what we're about to do with the Platinum Insiders Club. Make sure you go and you save the date in your calendar for our next part 2, which is going to be August 7th at 3 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, I see several people asking in the chat as well. Are these recorded? Yes, we recorded these so that we could actually release them and have them part of our permanent training. So you can watch these will be drip on YouTube. So you'll see those on our YouTube channel, I believe, starting later today. This broadcast, you can always fast forward through, but they'll actually be released as individual trainings. So you'll have TMS, you'll have WOTC, you'll have cost seg, you'll have R&D, and we actually have a bonus training that we'll be releasing at some point.
I won't give it away.
No, that's okay. It's ERC. It is fabulous. It's not part of either one of our broadcasts, but we're going to release that separately. So,
it's always nice to go back through something a second time and kind of solidify it in our minds. So that will be available to you.
Absolutely. So I want to thank you, Kendra, so much for early. But it is so hopefully everybody found the time worthwhile and valuable. Thank you for being here. Thank you for attending, and make sure that you're there on August 7th. So thanks everybody.
Soon.